Everyone, I'm Sam Bevan, CEO of the Chamber, and I'd like to welcome you all to the Greater Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce's 46th Annual Small Business Week celebration here in Essex. Tonight, we are gathered to recognize an outstanding business leader and community volunteer whose contributions have helped make Essex such a special place to live, work, and play, and also for those who sit, lie down, and roll over. Before we begin, I'd like to thank our sponsors whose support makes these celebrations possible. Our executive sponsors, Applied Materials and Cape Ann Savings Bank. Let's give them a round of applause, please. And our community sponsors, Addison Gilbert Hospital, Bank Gloucester, and Johnson O'Connor. We'd also like to extend our sincere thanks to Lindsay, Kurt, and the team here at Rivers Bend for their hospitality this evening. Let's give them another round of applause. And we are honored to be joined by many local officials, including State Senator Bruce Tarr, Nina Goodek from Representative Drew Tarr's office, Essex Select Board Chair Andy Cameron, Chamber board members, past presidents of the Chamber, Keith Harris, Ruth Pino, Mike Luster, Mark Renier, and Jim Brown. And for the other community leaders joining us here this evening, thank you very much. Each year, during Small Business Week, our communities gather to recognize individuals who exemplify the entrepreneurial spirit, dedication, and community commitment that helps our towns thrive. Tonight, Essex recognizes someone who truly embodies those qualities. At this time, I'd like to invite Michelle French forward to recognize Essex past Small Business Persons of the Year and introduce tonight's honoree. Michelle.
I am not as good as Sam with a mic, so we're holding papers. So the first thing I need to do is I want to just say who the past winners from the Small Business Year. So we have past winners from Gloucester here. Ruth Pino. We have two past Manchester Award recipients. James, nope, we're not going to do it. Mike Starella. Is he still here? Oh, yep, Mike Starella. 2015. And 2022, James Brown, who was also our past president. And our past Small Business Essex Award recipients. So 2005, I don't know where Ted is. Ted Marshall, and Fishing Charters. 2014, Heidi Jackson Dean. I'm going to say first Ipswich, not Beacon. 2019, Michelle French. And 2024, Rainey Reeder. But I'm also going to say with Rainey, in 1983, Ivan Muse, his grandfather, had won. So I mean, that's a pretty good accomplishment. Okay, so, well now, this doesn't make sense, but I'm going to say it anyway. Hello, those of you who do not know me, I am Michelle French. I work for Bank Gloucester, and I am the co-chair with Mark Lynch for the Essex Division of the Greater Cape Ann Chamber. I am also the leader of the Small Business Person Committee, and I'd like to thank this committee for their hard work and dedication. It is my pleasure to introduce our Greater Cape Ann Chamber Essex Small Business Person of 2026, Peter Hoare. What can I say about Peter Hoare? When I think of someone who is so invested in their community, I think of you, Peter. Peter is kind and a passionate businessman and puts forth the effort every day to help his community. First, let me give you some background on Peter's professional life. In 1989, and yes, I'm going back there, Peter began his career as an EMT in Boston. One night, the ambulance company he was working for wanted to show their employees their appreciation and bought the cheap seats for a Red Sox game. We can't get those anymore. Peter was enjoying the game with his coworkers and noticed a person that he thought was probably management sitting by himself. Peter, being the shy person that he is, went and sat with this gentleman. This person was the company's CEO, Richard Doherty. Richard called Peter the very next day for an interview for a sales position. This was not only the beginning of many leadership roles for Peter, but this was also the beginning of an amazing career. And Peter was lucky enough to work with and be mentored by Richard. In the 3 decades working in Boston EMS, he held senior positions including Vice President of Sales and Chief Operation Officer of Ease Care EMS, which he was one of the founders of this company. While building this company from 30 employees and 6 ambulances, they built this up. Wait, I gotta go back. While building this up to 600 employees and a fleet of 100 ambulances. Peter was learning every aspect of business: sales, finance, operations, staffing, payroll, billing, to say the least. I just get tired thinking of that. Peter also served on the Massachusetts Ambulance Association Board of Directors from 2008 to 2018. Peter joined the Essex Fire Department shortly after moving to Essex. He has been such a positive influence on this department and has brought amazing experience with EMS. Erin's words. I remember when Pete came into the temporary town hall asking about permitting for his doggy daycare project. That cracks me up, project. I think there must have been a medical call or something, because I just remember he left before anything was signed off and before all his questions were answered. The next time I saw him, I brought it up because I was curious and maybe interested in joining. I asked him if it would be difficult, and he said, "Of course, but it's worth it." That was probably around 2017. I finally got around to joining the department in 2019, and then it was COVID. Barn Dog was open and offered discounts to first responders, essential workers, and let's be real, you know, he was donating his time and space at Barn Dog as much as he could for those who needed it. When I'm on a medical call with Pete, I know he'll assess the scene and take whatever action is needed, whether it's patient care, getting equipment and supplies, or cleaning up a scene and making sure everyone or everything else gets to where they need to be. Then, after a call, he'll kind of look around and say, "Got a sec? Can you give me a hand with the report?" He doesn't let his discomfort about electronics prevent him from responding, but I can say with gusto, Pete ain't doing the computer. One of Peter's passions is helping animals. I actually think this is your passion. 2011, Peter co-founded Sweet Paws Rescues with Cynthia Sweet. This is so Peter. If there's a problem, he is going to try to help fix it. He owned a house in Rowley when Sweet Paws was first started, and then they needed a place for isolation when the dogs were brought into Mass. Well, he took his finished basement and built an isolation area. The state inspector came and was amazed at the isolation room and wanted to approve the application, but Peter was unaware that he needed an approval letter from the town of Rowley, but the town of Rowley did not approve the application because by their bylaws that Peter was unaware of, so he could not have that. I just say ouch. Peter moved to Essex in 2012, and he has made this community his home. He is a call EMT fireman, and again, when Peter sees a problem, he is there to try to help fix things. A few years ago, he ran for selectman. He did not win, but I believe things happen for a reason, and that reason is Barn Dog, Daycamp, and being a call EMT and fireman. Peter just wants to help his neighbors. Last year, Erin Kirchner, emailed Peter asking if he knew anyone interested in being on the Board of Health. His reply, "Nope." But Erin and Dr. Driscoll knew Peter would make a great fit with all of his experience and got him on the ballot and he was elected. They have a strong board with great knowledge, experience, and diversity. Erin's words, I'm grateful to have him on our Board of Health. We have a fantastic board at the moment with a broad range of knowledge and experience, and Pete just adds to that. As the newest member of the board, he asks a lot of questions and really wants to understand what we're doing and why. Then, at the end of every conversation, his next question is, how can I help? He has accompanied me on housing inspections and reviewed photos and documents dealing with concerning situations and acts as a sounding board for regulatory issues that have no good outcome, but we have to deal with. He always asks some variation of, what can I do? How can I help? And he means it, and we appreciate it. Many of you may not realize Peter is also a talented musician. His bands have been Just Like Newman, Land's End, and his current band, where he is the front man of Essex Junction with band members Jim LaFontaine and Jack Tomiello. You can hear them play at the James and round the Cape Ann. You're probably never going to see me there. You just start too late. Barn Dog Daycamp. This is Peter's true passion. He's been involved in doggy rescue for a very long time. He's fostered hundreds of dogs and still will have 1 or 2 fosters in his pack. Peter opened Barn Dog in November 2017. This was the 1 year, only 2 months, that the business did not turn a profit. Peter was still working full-time in Boston, and then because the business was doing so well, Peter retired in 2019. And then 2020 hit, COVID. Barn Dog was considered an essential business. Peter and Sue Brunette kept that business running. Peter was strategic, giving discounts to doctors, nurses, EMTs, and firefighters. He would make cold calls to veterinarians, inviting them to come see his facility. He was building his network. If the dog gets sick when the owner is away, Peter will bring the dog to their own vet. His philosophy is, do what is best interest of the dog. He will not take your money to make a profit. Not every dog fits into daycare. Peter's staff all love working for him. They say it's like a big family, and Peter is right there in the trenches with them, guiding them, teaching them, mentoring them. I know how well this business runs. My dog, Woody, goes there twice a week, and Woody just can't wait to go. He loves it there. He talks the whole ride until Peter takes him out of the car. And looking around the room, how many of your dogs go to the camp? And I just heard, wait, Buck?
Yeah.
Bucky goes. What did you say about that?
Whenever I come up, they say, oh, he had a great day.
And they do. They just love it. And your dog? Fern goes, and they just come back, and it's just so helpful for professionals because we can't give them everything that Barn Dog can. Okay. I asked Peter, what is one of the highlights of your career? This story is exactly what Peter stands for and is why he was unanimously voted as 2026 Essex Small Business Person. There was a car accident on Eastern Ave with a family that was involved. All 3 family members needed to be transported to the hospital. A 13-year-old girl was in the back seat, and with the force of the crash, she lost her front tooth. Peter went to go check on the family, and the father, with a broken ankle, was trying to get back to the car to find his daughter's tooth. Peter couldn't let him do that. Peter did go check the car, but he did not find the tooth. He continued to help clean up the scene, but it bothered him. He went back again, still could not find the tooth. Peter wasn't ready to give up, thinking about this poor 13-year-old girl with a missing front tooth and how that would make her feel. He went for a third look. He was in the back seat with the broken glass and popcorn she was eating. He found the tooth. He placed the tooth in a plastic glove with ice and had the last ambulance driver bring the tooth to the girl. The doctors put the tooth back in her mouth, and the tooth took. The father and daughter were so grateful for this act of kindness, they went to visit Peter and brought him chocolates and a thank you card in the shape of a tooth. Compassion, that is what Peter stands for. And just trying to help his neighbors. Memories words. I am so proud to watch him navigate each day with steadiness and heart. Whatever the weather brings, not just serving his customers and cleaning inside the barn, but in every way he shows up each day to do what is around him. Some people retire to slow down. Not you. Pete says he retired to something that gives him a reason to get up every morning and put his shoes on. Even when he's away from the barn, his mind is still thinking of those details of each dog's day, any special needs and customer care. Aside from that, he takes great care with his staff through their growth, both in their work and life. It stands for both when he says to them, I want to set you up for success, and he wants to set each dog up for success. He tends to every dog, every family, and every team member with genuine individual care, all while keeping an eye on the bigger picture of the business he's built. I am so happy for him for that, and this recognition is so well deserved. I watch him go above and beyond, whether it is for friends and neighbors, the fire department, health department, strangers on the street, because that is simply who he is. He'll joke that this is supposed to be a retirement job, and then tell you in the same breath he's never worked harder or cared more deeply about anything. This quote is Peter. It's impossible, said pride. It's risky, said experience. It's pointless, said reason. Give it a try, whispered the heart. Peter, you are a strong leader. You are a courageous entrepreneur and are not afraid to take risks. We thank you for all you do in our community, and with that said, it is my honor to introduce Peter Hoare, Essex Small Business Person of 2026.
Thank you very, very much. I am honored and humbled to be the recipient of this year's award. I just want to thank the Chamber for all the work you do to support small businesses throughout Cape Ann. I want to just tell you a little story of when I was nervously thinking about just starting my business. I decided to go for it, and I had the foundation dug. And I came home from my Boston job one day, and I looked past where the foundation was, and I squint, and I see a young girl walking a horse across my property. So of course I have to go up and investigate. So turns out this young girl was my neighbors, Andrea and Bill Donnelly, good friends, 2 doors down. This was their 15-year-old daughter walking her horse through my yard. And she said, what do you got going on over there, pointing to the hole in the ground? And I told her, I'm going to build a barn and take care of dogs. And she, without breaking stride, said, if you do what you love, you're never going to work another day in your life. Now, you've heard that saying before, and out of the mouths of babes, right, a 15-year-old girl said it and walked off into the sunset without saying anything else. And I said, that's the most profound thing I've ever heard from a 15-year-old. But that's really a great start. You know, every small business or any business is born from a dream, somebody with passion. So, and the barn dog story is no different. I decided to build a barn on my property, and as Michelle had mentioned, I was already a member of the Essex Fire Department, so I just hired the fire department to build my barn. I didn't put anything out to bid. There's a couple of guys in here. Ramey Reeder is my electrician. Dave Perrine is around here somewhere. My plumber, Dexter Doan, another local Essex guy. Corey Jackson. So we put together a pretty special facility. And the physical plant there is important, but you know what really makes Barn Dog is my staff. They are by far my best asset. And I try to create a positive, healthy environment for them to thrive in. I really enjoy mentoring these young people, and Katie Donnelly was one of them. When became a senior in Manchester Essex High School, did her SCORE project, if you're familiar with that, her senior year, and then came on board as a summer job. And so, but I really get great pleasure from mentoring these young kids. When you find the right people to work in your business, you got to make sure you take care of them. And it's not only paying them what they need to make, but you got to, empower them to make decisions. I think, there's nothing worse than a non-decision in a business. And I encourage them to make decisions on a daily basis. Any decision, if it's wrong, we can correct it. So it's thrilling to see these young people just, they love what they do. And all the customers come not to see me, but to see them. Emily Dowsett just graduated from UNH. She did her SCORE project with me 5 years ago, and then worked every summer for the last 5 years, and just graduated and called me up in March and was looking for a full-time job. I'm lucky to have her back. So, Barn Dog, are we perfect? We're most certainly not, but we try to be transparent with our customers. And when we make a mistake, we try to learn from it. And something I picked up in my healthcare career is the concept of continuous quality improvement. And we utilize that on a daily basis. We're always trying to provide a better experience for the dog, a safer experience for these dogs that play. And we own our mistakes, and we, improve every day. So a little bit about the business, but when you have a successful business, you're part of a community. And I think community engagement is very important. As mentioned, I'm on the fire department. I'm also on the board of health here in town. But there was a post on the Essex Facebook page today, I think by Sarah Wolf, all the vacant board seats and committee positions. So I want to challenge everybody to get off the sidelines and get in the game. Be part of the solution. This town is a very, very special place, but it takes, all of us to participate in helping it work. Finally, I want to say a word about my fiance, partner, Memory, sitting in the back. And she not only does all of our marketing, social media, and IT, the back end of our IT, but the saying, beside every great man, and it should read, is an extraordinary woman. Because she is my rock. She keeps me grounded when I get a little nutsy. And without her, I would not have nearly the success we have had. So, closing, again, thank you all for coming. And it is my honor to be the recipient of this year's award. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Peter. One of the things I appreciate most about this program is that it recognizes more than just business success. And we've heard a lot about that, but it celebrates people that make our community stronger. And it allows for those who work so hard day in, day out, to take just a few moments to be recognized for going above and beyond on that daily basis. When the Chamber announced this award, we described it here as all in for Essex. Does that sound right? I think so. And Peter, the more I learn about your story, the more I realize just how fitting that is. Peter, you've built something special through this business, but perhaps most importantly, you've built lasting connections through this community. I think that's exactly what you said. That combination of entrepreneurship, service, and community spirit is exactly what this award is meant to recognize. So Peter, on behalf of the Greater Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce, it's my honor to present you with the 2026 Essex Small Business Person of the Year Award. Congratulations, Peter. And now I would like to invite Essex Select Board Chair Andy Cameron up to present a greeting and a citation on behalf of the town of Essex.
I'm going to read this thing, but I want to just say thank you to you for opening a business where people can bring their animals who are very beloved to many families and trusting you with their care. It means a lot to many people. So thank you for that. Thank you for your service with the fire department and the Board of Health. And thank you for also plugging for those openings, because we want to have some people, some new ladies and new blood come in and make some good changes. And finally, I sometimes hear you at the James playing music, and I want to say that your music brings joy to our community, and it's brought me joy, so I wanted to thank you for that, because I think that that's a really significant gift to the community, and you should be acknowledged for that, because you play with everybody. I mean, you're really all
Saturday night.
okay.
7 o'clock.
There you go. Yeah, I get no commission on that one. Okay, so I'm going to read this, but there's this whereas bit, and I'd love for you to help me with that, if you want to help me with that. So this is on behalf of the town. Small Business Week proclamation. It's a terrible font. Whereas the commercial and professional community in Essex is comprised almost entirely of small, independently owned businesses, and whereas Small Business Week is an annual celebration sponsored on a national level by the Small Business Administration in recognition of the contribution of America's small business community to the nation's economy and quality of life, and whereas the Greater Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce is coordinating a program of activities designed to highlight small businesses and their value to the community in terms of goods and services, employment, taxes, contributions of manpower and money, and involvement in local affairs, and whereas representatives of the business community will meet with students, civic and service groups, and others from all sectors of the community to enhance understanding of the private enterprise system and its contribution to American life, and whereas a special award, it's not small, a special award will be presented by the Greater Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce to Peter Hoare, Barn Dog Daycamp Small Business Person of the Year in Essex. Now, therefore, sorry, didn't know that one.
Therefore.
Thank you. I should have counted on you. We, the Board of Selectmen for the Town of Essex, do hereby proclaim the week of June 1st through June 7th, 2026, as Small Business Week in Essex. Thanks.
Thank you, Andy. And next, I'd like to invite up Nina Gooddick from Representative Drew Tarr's office.
You're sounding an amazing person. Everyone's saying some wonderful things. It's great. It's so good to have someone like you in our community. I have a message from Representative Tarr, the other Tarr. He couldn't be here, he's in session, but he wanted you to know. Let me need my glasses too. Okay. He said, running a small business is tough enough. It is something else to be entrusted with our pets. They are members of our family who we care about so dearly. It takes a measure of trust beyond that of a normal customer business interaction. Congratulations on earning the trust of Essex's pet parents and the distinction of Essex's Small Business of the Year for 2026. That's from Drew. And I get to read you this citation, good citation, from the House of Representatives. So it says, "Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Peter Hoare in recognition of being honored as the 2026 Small Business Person of the Year for Essex. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. Given this third day of June, 2026, at the State House, Boston, Mass., by Ronald Mariano, Speaker of the House, offered by Drew Tarr, State Representative."
Thank you so much, Nina. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to invite State Senator Bruce Tarr to offer a few words and a state citation. Thanks, Sam. Did everyone notice how he looked at me when he said a few words? There was a subtle message there, Sam, but I'm going to pretend I didn't see it. And you okay with that watch?
Oh, yeah,
Okay?
just checking it
All
out.
right, just checking your pulse, right? So it's great to be here with all of you tonight in a facility that I think should be in the running for the future, for the summer home of the Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce. This would be a phenomenal place to do that. And I want to say thank you to the folks at Riversbend for hosting us here today, as they do so many times for so many civic events. It's great to be here with all of you, and it's great to be here for a wonderful tradition of the Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce. You know, the Chamber does so much for small businesses all across the region, but this is a particularly important function of the Chamber, to recognize folks that are hardworking and are the backbone of our economy, but that go the extra mile to make sure that we don't just have an economy, but that we have a community. And Peter, you certainly represent that. And I gotta tell you, if 10 years ago somebody said I'd be presenting a citation for a dog day camp, I would have probably said, I don't think that's gonna be the case, but it is the case. And I'm glad to be here. And I'm glad to be here because you represent so much of the very best about being a member of a community. You give your heart, you give your time, you give your talent, whether it be on the Board of Health, whether it be on the fire department, whether it be helping to start Sweet Paws, which is an important rescue organization, so that dogs can have a home. You give us all of those things. And by the way, I think what we should do tonight is the list should be at the door of all the vacancies for Essex boards and commissions, and no one should get to leave until they sign up for one of those. And if there are any vacancies left, I'm sure Peter will pick up the rest, right? So just want to make sure we're okay here. But, you know, running a small business is an incredible challenge. Everything falls on your shoulders. You have to make sure the bills get paid. You have to make sure payroll gets paid. You have to make sure the lights are on. You have to make sure that all the dogs are accounted for. I figured that was going to happen. And the question is, who pulled that alarm so it toned out? Where's Dan Doucette? He's right back there, and he's got the device in his hands, so I'm curious. But so that doesn't happen again. I just want to say thank you, Peter, for everything that you do and everything that you represent. You know, I'm a firm believer that God gives all of us different talents. But what's important is not the differences. What's important is that we do something with them. And you have found your passion. It has made all the difference in the world. For people that entrust their dogs to you, for people that count on you in the fire department, for people that depend on you in the Board of Health, you give everything you have to this community. And I just have one question, and that is, when are you going to start the Daycamp for legislators? Because Nina and I will work to recruit as many as we can to go there, because every dog should have a life with days filled as wonderful as the days are
and learn. That too is a gift. So thank you for running an exemplary business. Thank you for everything that you do for the community. And thank you for reminding us all that it's up to us to give our very best. And the best example of that is someone like you. Congratulations. And I do have a citation from the Senate. Everybody knows how big the House citation is. Yeah, those are paid for with your tax dollars. But anyway, we're a little bit more frugal in the Senate. Just you know. But the House is very generous. In fact, the last time, I think, Nina, the House members actually paid for those covers, right? Yeah. So the good news is the representatives are very generous with their money, and we're very frugal with yours. But anyway, this is from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts State Senate. It's an official citation which reads, "Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Peter Hoare of Barn Dog Daycamp in recognition of being the recipient of the 2026 Essex Small Business Person of the Year Award from the Greater Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, because we don't know what you're going to dream up next, and we'll be looking for it. And that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to, and a copy thereof transmitted by our clerk. And this is signed by Senate President Karen Spilka. It's attested to by our clerk, Michael Hurley. And I am so proud to offer this on June 3rd of 2026 to such an exemplary member of the community and representative of what it means to be a true small business person. Peter, congratulations. What's next is known as a photo op. All right, we gotta get Nina. All right, we're going back. We got you. All right, good. All right.
Thank you.
I want to thank again all of our elected officials and all of you for coming out this evening to help us recognize Peter's contributions to Essex and the greater Cape Ann community. Congratulations again to Peter Hoare, Essex 2026 Small Business Person of the Year. And thank you again, all of you, for helping us celebrate tonight and recognizing that important role that small businesses play throughout the greater Cape Ann region.